I just got back from the jungle in Ecuador, and I'm going to tell you that this was the most intense experience of my life. I've been to hundreds of ceremonies, and I've never experienced anything like this. And through this process, I learned 4 tips in order for us to all be collectively on this next wave of ascension. And if you want to be on it, continue to listen on. Hi, I'm Amy Elizabeth, your energy evolution mentor, here to make spirituality simple. And today I'm going to share with you 4 tips to getting on this next wave of ascension. I cannot stress how intense this experience was for me. And I share a little bit about this in another video that will link to the notes below so that you can hear about what it was like to sit with this man who was raised by aliens. And so I'm sharing that with you because this is intergalactic information. This is eons and eons and eons old. And so you may think it's really simple and it's supposed to be complicated because it's intergalactic, but I'm telling you right now, our mind makes things very complicated. And the more simple we are, the more we break things down into simplistic terms and ways of being, the easier our life will be. So the first tip is purification. And in the spiritual world, we hear this a lot. And by purification, what a lot of people think it means is to eat healthy and to live in a clean way. And yes, that's all very true, so that we can keep our bodies healthy. But purification is really about the mind and the energy. And so what's so important is to create different rituals, such as continuous baths and prayers into whatever you're putting in the bath, whether it be cinnamon or ginger or salt or flowers. Pray into these items as you're sitting in the bath and you're literally cleansing your energy, your physical body, and your energy fields with the water. And this was a process that we did daily, where we would have and be scrubbed and cleaned energetically. We all have a number of kinds of purification techniques with tobacco and with chili and other forms of cleansing, Wayusa, ingesting a specific tea that's very cleansing. So eating healthy and clean is very important, sure. And most importantly, it's the thought process behind whatever action you're doing and knowing that this is a purification tool and utilizing and developing a relationship with whatever that is. So if it's a cup of water and you're using that as a purification tool, you pray into the water and communicate with the cells of the water to cleanse your body inside. I want you to think about what you would typically use as a purification tool. Maybe it's even a spray. You can get holy water or blessed water or Palo Santo water, and you can make that yourself just by soaking Palo Santo or sage, burning sage and Palo Santo. So these kinds of purification tools are super important. So as soon as you start to feel out of alignment, utilizing whatever it is that you feel is in most alignment with your energy and with your knowing, your wisdom, and your experience, and making sure that you're doing that regularly. And when I see regularly, I'm talking daily. So one of the reasons why it's important to do this daily is because it gives you a sense of ritualistic, just like you would take a shower every day. And that's also a purification, right? So just like you would take a shower every day to, be hygienically clean, you would do something for your energy every single day that would promote health and well-being. And this is the intention. It's more about the intention of purification, if that makes sense. One of my favorite tools that I utilize for purification, it is to call in Archangel Michael and the blue light and the blue flame. And I call Archangel Michael into all of my orifices, my eyes, my nose, my mouth, my ears, the top of my head, my belly button, my genital area, my bottom of my feet, and my hands. So everywhere I walk and everything I think and all the connection, everything that I see, I hear, I smell, I taste, everything that I create is guarded with the highest truth and integrity, right? And so that's a form of purification that is so important. Number 2, focus. So in number 1, when I talk about purification, part of this is also a focusing exercise. Okay, so they sort of go hand in hand. And what I learned from these ETs that were all around us in the intergalactic communication that was happening during this time in Ecuador was that focus is key. And so we can use a number of different techniques to focus, but number 1, first and foremost, asking yourself what you're focusing on. And know that sometimes we get into a very daunting place where all of a sudden our mind wants to wander into a lower vibratory energy, such as guilt, shame, blame, fear, doubt, and then confusion. And once we get into confusion, there's a level of meandering that happens. And so focus is what brings us back. And so knowing what we're focusing on, right? So where does your attention hold? And so that the reason we purify is so that we have a clean field that doesn't have excess junk in there that can distract us. And so the message from these intergalactic beings is how important it is for you to clean your field so that you can focus for the light to come in. And so there are a number of different tools or techniques that you can use. One that I like is a candle that I stare at the flame. I'll have a notebook and a pen on my lap, and I'm continuing to stare at the flame. And when a thought comes up, a little lie, and then another little lie, little lie, little lie. I do not take my eyes off the flame. I continue to focus on the flame until everything in my awareness is settled, peaceful, and void. So I'm nothing and everything all at once. And the more that you do this on a daily, the more that you will notice less tallies on the page. And your attention, your focus, and your presence will be so much more expansive with whoever you're with or whatever it is, the project that you're doing. Your focus will be so much more directed. And yeah, I love this practice. There's a lot of other techniques that I can describe, but I'm just going to give you that one for now. And maybe there are some that you have. Please comment below and give them to our community. I'd love to hear what you use for a focusing technique. And I don't want to hear Adderall. Just a joke, but I don't, because that's not what we're talking about here, right? So number 3, this is one of the most important ones. It's going to sound funny, but your eyes open. So one of the things that I've recognized in this experience was how much we bypass through closing our eyes. And I invite you all to do some somatic and sensory work with your eyes open and notice what it is by being in a room and still feeling what's happening inside the body, communicating with the body, understanding the qualities and the essences of whatever it is that's showing up, and then being able to relate that and communicate that. And what this does is it trains you to be in the external physical world and your internal emotional and feeling world. And the intergalactic beings communicated this above and beyond anything and everything else. Why? Because it creates awareness. And within that awareness, you are heightened in your ability to see in front of you, behind you, and all around you, as well as sense and feel everything that's happening within you. And this is truly how to become a superhuman, is to be able to process and integrate everything that's happening around you in your physical world and everything that's happening on your internal plane and world. So I hope this makes sense, but I gave a talk a couple of weeks ago and was discussing this with 40 practitioners, and they all really got it. And if you have any questions, please comment below. I'd love to talk more about this. I think this is a very important topic. And I feel that a lot of us are bypassing and don't even know it, closing our eyes and drawing our senses in. And yeah, it feels really good. But as we close our eyes and we're sensing into our body, you're feeling sensations everywhere. Part of the sensations everywhere isn't localizing anything. And the intergalactic beings were telling me that's false. That's another way that called the other team or the other forces are using mind control to play with us and distract us from true ultimate healing and wholeness and clarity. And that's what we're here to do, is to be clear, to be love, so that we can receive the light. And when the light comes, my friends, you want to be on that ascension wave, 100%. The fourth tip is looking at polarity. I am just going to be totally vulnerable and honest with you guys. It's been a hard one. I'm like the polarity queen. I have my polarity oracle deck. This has been in my life. I talk about, good, bad, black, white, dark, light, all of things. And when I was in Ecuador, they were so clear about what they called the dark forces and the light, or God's light. And there was a lot of fear around that. And not just from myself, I'm just saying it was a fear-based conversation. And it needed to happen so that we could really understand what's out there beyond our control, beyond our planet. That there are forces that are at play, that are watching what's happening on Earth. And this is a real thing. And we do live in a third dimensional, dense experience, which means there's polarity. And my friends, I'm going to do a video, which will link below. It's super important for you to understand the one thing to get you out of emotional drama, the one tool. And this tool is a polarity technique that truly will help you to see what's been distracting you so deeply, the stories that we make up. And so what I understood about polarity is how important it is for us to really look at what is showing up in our field at all times. So when we're feeling agitated or sad, or in any way, shape, and form a lower vibratory energy based on a reflection from somebody else, or based on an experience where we don't feel like we're good enough, look at the opposing force, right, as the edge or the adversity, so that we can really learn and grow and understand, how is this teaching me to grow? How is this showing up for my best and highest? And what is it pinpointing inside me to be healed? And let me just give you an example. When I was there, it was the last day of ceremony, and I had just really been informed about mind control through an experience where I actually got to cellularly and through my body experience it. Because, quite frankly, I can't share something if I haven't experienced it. I'm no good. Like, I'm not going to just say, oh, this is what was told to me. No, I have to actually feel it, embody it, and understand it. With polarity, I understood that for the majority of the trip, I was so strong, and it was being consistently reflected back to me of how brave and courageous and strong I am. I've been through all of these ceremonies, and I had this ability to do it, to stand, to be focused and present. And that last day I wrote, and everything inside me turned into and reverted back to this vulnerable, weak, fragile little girl. And I had to see these parts of myself, because what these beings were showing me and what the energy of the medicine was showing me, and Ecuador and the shamans were showing me, were these parts of myself that were little cracks in my foundation that would not serve me moving forward. And since I've been able to really dive into those aspects of myself, I have softened so deeply. And so I'm still strong and courageous and brave, but with no edges. This is vital for us to be able to take in the light. So when we understand how polarity shows up in our life, and we can get in front of the message that it's sharing with us, we can accept those parts of ourselves and really, truly love those parts of ourselves to finally, once and for all, heal, become whole, so that when the light comes in this wave of ascension, we're ready for it. And my friends, these are your 4 tips to getting on the wave of ascension and onboarding the light. And I think it's really important that you watch and rewatch this video. And if you've made it to the end, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing this with your community. And if you've liked this video, please comment below what you liked, what worked for you, what has been helpful, or maybe even what is affirming to you. I'm so excited for this community to grow. It means a lot to me, because together we get to live in awe and make our life awesome. And let's ride that wave of ascension together. Until next time.